Have you ever, found yourself in that spot? You've got the latest gaming console, maybe a beautiful 4K screen, or that powerful work computer that hums just a bit too loud right next to you. And the issue, well, the HDMI cable's just too short. Or you really want to stick that noisy machine somewhere else entirely. Maybe you're just fed up with all the cables, or worse, seeing the picture quality drop off over a longer distance. So what if? What if you could send like perfect uncompressed 4K video, great audio, even USB data right across your house or office, and all using just one simple standard cable? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into exactly that kind of tech. We're unpacking the WolfPack 4K 30Hz HDMI 2.0 to CAT6 Extender with HDCP 2.2 via HDBaseT 2.0 and USB. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, but it points to something pretty transformative. Our mission really is to see how the specific box and the HDBaseT 2.0 tech behind it can be your shortcut to understanding how to, well, revolutionize your AV setup. We'll look at the features, what it can actually do, and maybe some surprising ways it can extend your digital world.
Yeah, and what's really insightful, I think, is how it pulls together so many different things: video, audio, control signals, even data. And it does all that over one single, very common cable, the Ethernet cable. So we'll start with that core problem, right? Extending signals without losing quality. Then we'll get into the clever ways HDBaseT 2.0 solves it, and how that changes things, everything from home theaters to quieter workspaces.
Okay, yeah, let's tackle that first big hurdle: distance and signal quality. We've all bumped into the limits of standard HDMI cables, haven't we? Over any real distance, they get kind of thick, they're a pain to run, and honestly, long ones get expensive fast. And the big one, the signal can really start to degrade. You get flickering, dropouts, maybe the picture just looks less sharp.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how this WolfPack extender just sidesteps that whole problem. Instead of trying to brute force an HDMI signal down a long, fussy cable, it converts it. It takes the HDMI signal and turns it into a much more robust HDBaseT signal. And that signal travels beautifully over a standard C6 or a TT7 Ethernet cable.
Ah, okay, so it's not just a booster, it's actually changing the signal type for the long haul.
Precisely. It's a much smarter way to handle long-distance AV. More practical, definitely more cost-effective in many cases.
And here's something you mentioned that sounds really crucial. It sends uncompressed HDMI video and audio.
That's the key takeaway for quality, absolutely. Uncompressed. It means the picture you see 300 feet away is bit for bit identical to the picture you'd get with a tiny 3-foot cable right at the source.
Wow. Okay, so no compromises on the picture or sound then.
None whatsoever. Pure, pristine signal.
All right, so let's talk numbers. How far are we talking? The reach and the resolution, because that's where the rubber meets the road, isn't it?
It really is. So for standard 1080p HD video, this particular unit can push that signal up to 330 feet.
330 feet, that's 100 meters.
Exactly, over a single CAT6 or CT7 cable. That covers, most homes easily, maybe even between floors in an office.
Okay, and what about higher resolutions, like 4K?
Right. For 4K, specifically 4K at 30 Hertz, it still manages a very respectable 150 feet. Again, over that same single cable.
150 feet for 4K 30. That's still pretty impressive distance.
It is. And, stepping back a bit, the capability you're seeing in this specific extender, that really comes from the HDBaseT 2.0 standard itself. While this unit does 4K 30 up to 150 feet, the actual HDBaseT 2.0 spec is designed to handle Ultra HD 4K video all the way up to 100 meters, 328 feet.
Ah, okay. So the underlying tech is even more capable, suggesting it's built for the future, too.
Definitely. It shows how robust the standard is, ready for more demanding formats down the line.
And what about compatibility? We need this stuff to actually work with modern gear, right? HDCP and all that.
Good point. Yes, this extender is fully compliant with the important stuff. It supports HDMI 2.0. That specifically includes handling 4K at 60 Hz, but with a slightly reduced color format, YCbCR 4.2.0, which is common for this kind of extension. And crucially, it's also HDCP 2.2 compliant.
Which you absolutely need for protected content, right?
Yeah.
Like from Netflix or Blu-rays.
You got it. Without HDCP 2.2, you just get a black screen or an error message with most modern sources and displays. So compliance is essential.
Okay, so solid video performance, good reach, proper compliance. But you mentioned it does more than just video. This is where it gets really interesting, right? This 5-play thing you mentioned.
Yes. The WolfPack extender, because it uses HDBase 2.0, inherits this suite of capabilities called 5-play. And it raises the question, okay, what are these 5 plays? And why should you care?
Exactly. Lay it on us.
All right. Well, basically, it's about cramming everything you need for a modern AV setup into that single cable. First up, Video and audio. We've covered the uncompressed HD video part. For audio, it's not just basic stereo. It supports high-end uncompressed surround sound formats. Think LPCM 7.1, Dolby True HD, DTS HD Master Audio.
So lossless audio formats too. Nice.
Yeah, all the good stuff, plus the standard Dolby Digital and DPS, of course. So your sound stays as pure as your picture.
Okay, video and audio. Check. What's next?
Next is Ethernet. HDBaseT actually includes a standard 100 megabit per second Ethernet channel.
Wait, so network data travels over the same cable too?
It does. So imagine your smart TV or your game console at the far end. It needs internet, right? Instead of running a separate network cable alongside the HDBaseT cable, the network connection just piggybacks on the same CT6.
Ah, that's clever. Definitely cuts down on cable clutter.
Significantly.
Yeah.
Makes installations much cleaner.
Okay, video, audio, Ethernet. What's number 3?
Number 3 is power. Now, this specific WolfPack unit we're discussing uses separate power adapters, one for the transmitter, one for the receiver. Standard stuff.
Right, little DC plugs.
Exactly. But it's important to know that the HDBaseT technology itself supports something called power over cable, or PoC, sometimes called POH, power over HDBaseT.
Like PoE for networking gear.
Very similar concept, yes. With compatible HD-based products, not this specific one, but others, you can actually send up to 100 watts of power over the same CT6 cable that's carrying the video, audio, and Ethernet.
100 watts. That's enough to power a decent-sized TV.
It certainly can be. It means for some installations, you might not need a power outlet right near the display or the receiver unit. Super convenient, especially for wall-mounted screens.
Wow, okay, that's a big potential plus for the standard itself. What else is in the 5-play mix?
And the final piece is controls. This extender supports 2 main types, bidirectional infrared, or IR, and RS-232 control signals.
Okay, bidirectional IR. Let me guess. That means I can point my remote at the TV end and control the source device hidden away somewhere else.
That's exactly it. Imagine your Blu-ray player or cable box is tucked away in a closet, maybe even 300 feet away. You stick the little IR receiver near your TV, the IR blaster near your source device, and boom, your regular remote works perfectly.
That is slick. Solves the whole where do I put the ugly cable box problem.
It really does. And the bidirectional part means control signals can go both ways if needed, though usually it's TV to source.
And RS-232, that sounds a bit more pro-level.
It often is, yeah.
Yeah.
RS-232 is a common serial control standard used in home automation systems, projectors, more complex setups. This extender basically acts like a long RS-232 extension cable. You plug your control system or device into the ports on the transmitter and receiver, and it sends those commands reliably over the HDBaseT link up to the full 330 feet.
Got it. So full control flexibility there.
Full duplex control, yes. Very handy for integrated systems.
Man, so it really is more than just extending HDMI. It's like a whole connectivity hub over one cable. Video, audio, network, potentially power, and controls.
That's the power of 5-play and HDBaseT 2.0.
And speaking of packing features in, the name of this extender specifically calls out USB. For a lot of people, I bet that's the feature that really catches their eye. Tell us about the USB integration.
Yeah, the USB part is a really significant addition, especially with HDBaseT 2.0. This extender has USB ports supporting USB 2.0, and it's backward compatible with 1.1 and 1.0. And the key thing with HDBaseT 2.0 is that this USB 2.0 support is inherent to the standard. It's built in.
What does inherent mean in this context?
It means manufacturers using the HDBaseT 2.0 chipset don't need to add extra chips or complex conversion layers just to handle USB. With HDBaseT 1.0, adding USB often required extra components, making the extenders potentially bigger, more complex, maybe less reliable. 2.0 simplifies all that. It makes for a cleaner, more integrated design.
Okay, simpler design is good, but what can you actually do with this USB extension? What are the practical uses?
Oh, some really cool stuff. Let's take gaming. Imagine your powerful gaming PC or console is set up in your office, or maybe a dedicated room to keep the noise and heat away from your living room.
Yeah, I can definitely picture wanting that.
With this, you can plug your game controllers, your gamepad, maybe even a racing wheel or flight stick, directly into the receiver unit by your big TV. And that USB connection travels back to the console or PC over that same single TT6 cable.
Seriously, so no noticeable lag or anything?
USB 2.0 has plenty of bandwidth for peripherals. The source material even specifically mentions it supporting an Xbox 360 with the Kinect sensor without needing anything extra.
Wow, okay. That opens up a lot of possibilities for cleaner, quieter gaming setups.
Totally. And think about remote workspaces.
Ah, like my dream of banishing the noisy computer tower.
Exactly. You could have your powerful workstation PC in a closet or a server room, or just another room down the hall.
Yeah.
Keep your actual desk totally silent.
But still use my keyboard, mouse, webcam?
Yes, plug them into the USB ports on the receiver unit at your desk. You maintain full USB functionality. Think keyboard, mouse, webcam, maybe even a USB microphone or a touch panel display for control.
Or transferring files with a USB stick.
Absolutely. Anything you'd normally plug into your computer's USB ports, you can now plug in remotely. It's a huge win for creating quiet, focused workspaces without sacrificing connectivity.
That actually sounds amazing, separating the machine from the interaction space.
It's a game changer for many people, I think.
Okay, so this HDBaseT 2.0 standard seems like a really big deal. What's the bigger picture here? How did we get from, say, version 1.0 to this? Let's zoom out a bit.
Good idea. Understanding the evolution helps see why 2.0 is so capable. So HDBaseT 2.0 was officially released back in August 2013. It was a pretty significant step up from the original HDBaseT 1.0. HDBaseT 1.0 was primarily focused on the basic plumbing, the physical, and data link layers, technically speaking. It was mostly defined as a point-to-point standard. Think one source device, like a Blu-ray player, connected directly to one display device, like a TV or projector.
Okay, simple direct connection.
Right. But HDBaseT 2.0 added some really crucial new layers and capabilities on top of that foundation. It brought in native support for networking, switching, and having control points within the HDBaseT network itself. It also introduced true point-to-multipoint connectivity.
So not just one-to-one anymore. You could do one source to multiple displays or maybe multiple sources.
Exactly, and allows for multi-stream support. This opens the door to much more complex AV distribution setups, like sending different signals to different zones in a house or building, using HDBaseT switches or matrices. And a key part of 2.0 was the introduction of the HDBaseT HomePlay feature set.
HomePlay. What's that about?
That was specifically designed to make it easier and cheaper for regular consumers like you to use HDBaseT to create whole-home multimedia systems. The goal was an affordable, kind of plug-and-play solution for turning your entire home into an entertainment hub using the HDBaseT backbone.
Making this advanced tech more accessible, basically.
Precisely. Plus, 2.0 brought general performance improvements, especially a better performance margin for handling 4K video, and it was designed to better utilize existing network infrastructure and bandwidth.
That point-to-multipoint capability sounds really powerful. Does that mean with the right gear, you could, say, have one cable box feed TVs in the living room and bedroom simultaneously using HDBaseT?
Yes, that's exactly the kind of scenario HDBaseT 2.0 enables, provided you use HDBaseT distribution amplifiers or matrix switches that support it. Our specific WolfPack extender set is point-to-point, but the underlying 2.0 standard it uses has that scalability built in.
Okay, that makes sense. So looking at the market, how does HDBaseT stack up against other ways people try to send HD video over long distances, like maybe those active optical HDMI cables or sending video over IP networks?
That's a great comparison point. What really makes HDBaseT stand out is that unique 5-play bundle we talked about. Uncompressed HD video and audio, Ethernet, controls, and potentially power, all consolidated onto one single standard low-cost Ethernet cable.
Right, using the cables people might already have run in their walls.
Exactly. You're leveraging existing, widely available, and relatively inexpensive infrastructure. Active optical cables are great for very long distances or specific high bandwidth needs, but they typically only carry video and audio, maybe power, not usually Ethernet or native USB like HDBaseT 2.0, and sending video over standard IP networks. That usually involves compression, which can impact quality, and often introduces more latency, which can be an issue for gaming or interactive uses. Plus, you need network switches capable of handling that video traffic.
So HDBaseT kind of hits a sweet spot for quality, integration, and using standard cabling.
For a huge range of applications, yes. It's optimized specifically for video distribution, avoids compression for the main signal path, keeps latency low, and integrates all those extra signals. It offers a very elegant, all-in-one solution for most residential and many commercial needs up to 100 meters.
That's a really clear way to put it. Okay, so if someone is thinking, yeah, this sounds like what I need, like using this WolfPack extender, are there any practical tips for installation, things to watch out for to make sure it works perfectly?
Absolutely. The source material actually gives a couple of very specific, very important tips for installing the CAT6 or C7 cabling for this kind of system. They strongly recommend don't use EZ45 connectors and don't use patch panels.
Okay, why not? EZ45 connectors are those pass-through ones, right? They seem convenient. And patch panels are standard in structured wiring.
They are convenient for standard data networking, yeah. But HDBaseT pushes signals at much higher frequencies than typical Ethernet data. Those EZ45 connectors, where the wires pass through the end, can sometimes lead to slight variations in wire length or untwisting right at the connector, which can mess with the signal integrity at HDBaseT frequencies. It can introduce noise or impedance mismatches. Same idea with patch panels. Each connection point in a patch panel adds another potential point of signal reflection or degradation.
So for the best HDBaseT performance, you want a direct, high-quality terminated run of cable between the transmitter and receiver.
Exactly. Minimizing connections and using high-quality termination methods like properly crimped standard RJ45 plugs or maybe shielded connectors if you're in a noisy environment is key to getting that reliable maximum distance performance, especially for 4K.
Got it. Good tips to keep in mind. So let's boil it down. What are the big wins for someone using a setup like this?
The benefits really stack up. First, uncompressed video. Your picture quality stays perfect, same as a short cable.
No more fizzy long-distance signals.
Right. Second, way less cable clutter. One CTX or CAT6 cable replaces potentially 3, 4, or even 5 different cables.
Huge plus for clean setup.
Third, distance becomes almost irrelevant within that 330-foot or 150-foot range. Put your gear where it makes sense, not just where the cables reach.
Freedom.
Fourth, you get those quality controls IR and RS-232 pass-through, ensuring reliable operation. And the USB adds a whole other layer of remote interaction.
And finally,
Lower cost installations in many cases, because you're using standard, affordable LAN cables instead of expensive, long-run specialized cables like HDMI or optical.
makes a lot of sense. And just so people know what they're getting, what typically comes in the box with this WolfPack extender?
Right, it's usually a complete kit. You get the HDMI transmitter unit, the HDMI receiver unit. You also get the little IR blaster and receiver cables for the remote control feature.
Uh-huh.
A USB A to B cable to connect your source device's USB port to the transmitter. You get RS-232 cables, looks like both the DB9 serial kind and the 3.5mm stereophone jack style, which is handy.
Covers both common types.
Yeah. Plus, mounting screws or brackets, and of course, the 2 DC power adapters, one for each end.
So pretty much everything you need besides the actual CT6 cable itself.
Exactly. It's designed to be a comprehensive solution right out of the box.
Well, we've certainly taken a deep dive today into this WolfPack 4K HDMI extender using HDBaseT 2.0 and USB. It's pretty clear how one device leveraging this powerful HDBaseT standard can really solve a lot of problems, extending top-notch video, audio, controls, even USB over some serious distances.
It really does. And thinking bigger picture, this kind of unified, uncompressed, long-distance capability for AV and data fundamentally changes how we can think about designing our spaces, right? It breaks down those old barriers imposed by short, single-purpose cables. It makes sophisticated setups much more achievable, much more integrated.
Absolutely. So here's something to think about as we wrap up. If just one single inexpensive Ethernet cable can now carry almost everything, your perfect 4K picture, your amazing surround sound, your remote control signals, even your keyboard, mouse, and game controllers, what kind of really innovative, clean, maybe surprisingly remote controlled environments could you dream up for your own home or your office? Things that maybe seemed impossible or way too expensive before. How would you use that freedom from short cables and messy clutter to really transform how you interact with your technology?